KFM 101. FM 101.7.
To be a wonderful day. A day I will never forget. When after I'd wandered in darkness away, Jesus, my Savior, I met. Oh, what a tender, compassionate friend. He met the needs of my heart. Oh, shadows, the spelling with joy. I am telling, He made all my darkness deeper. Oh, heavens came down and glory filled my soul. There ran back was my Savior. He made me whole. My sins were washed away, and my night was turned today. Heavens came down and glory filled my soul. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful day. Yes, the day I held it, I will never forget. When after I'd wandered in darkness away, yes, Jesus, my Savior, I met. Oh, what a tender, compassionate friend. Yes, Jesus, He met the needs of my heart. Oh, shadows, the spelling with joy. I want to tell you, He made all my darkness deeper. Oh, heavens came down and glory filled my soul. Yeah.
Mawana Monday to Friday.
Hands up in the air, in the world right here on my lap.
Okay FM 101.7.
It's good. I listen to it
All day, every day.
every day.
Every day.
Okay FM. Everything is okay.
All right, good afternoon, and thank you so much for tuning in to OK 101.7 FM. It's another edition of your favorite radio drive time show on the continent of Africa. It's 12 minutes to the top of the hour, 3 p.m., and this is the weekend edition of your weekly, exciting, inspirational, fun, field-packed radio program. But today presents a great opportunity for us to learn what we can do to manage the deadly pandemic that has bedeviled us since December 2019, the popular novel virus called COVID-19. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from now to 6 p.m., we're going to have a good time, wonderful time on your favorite radio drive time show, Ekwanso Jojo. My name is Abeiku Santana. Thank you so much. And you know, me adofonom yeda onyankopon asese ode aba na wotwi na wiye na utie OK 101.7 FM. Yeda onyankopon ase se yeba na wotwe wiye next week na August bosome no eba na wiye anisa na ye ko September, so get ready. The 9th month is just around the corner, and 2020 has been one of the most challenging years in recent times. One of the most challenging years in recent times. Very traumatic, painful, with sad, bad experiences. But in all these, we are alive and we thank God. Life has not completely come to a halt. So you either learn how to dance in the storm or you run for cover. Now, when the storm comes, the eagle will soar through the storm, but the chicken will run for cover. It's important that we learn how to dance in storms. As I say, we'll be a choir or befaso na wasa. Ewo or how any amanie ebremon. So what ya see ma media na ene enkomo aye betwetwe fa edikai eye enkomo ebeboa wo pa. Midin di Abeiku Santana ye di aseda emma eye Vodafone se omasoyemu enapa food ena fenso eye Heaven insecticide spray and Heaven black mosquito coil. We ni nyumakuo miensa aboya say asoye musa yemfa ene dwumadie embel Vodafone e the Vodafone cash aba na Vodafone cash mobile money technology ene ubetumi di technology aye bibia broni technology say beba ne ma easy fast e the amount inti say o struggle and I will bre at the aye near maybe nature say you have not appreciated and now you don't appreciate and I won't tiase the obetumi technology aye obi suma obi say one first can come obi atwam osisika na ira atwam say ubetumi atena ofie ubetumi atena wadwumam wotu ka mu ba bia obi a no ubetumi adi aye sika dwa bia. You can transact business on your phone. Na the ayana man crofo bebre esuro say we be transact business on their phone. One charges are a womb. O send sika mo obi a na yatew. Pacho Vodafone say sa eka no a o send sika na yatew no wafa sa eka ne nyina. On Vodafone cash ubetumi send sika e dia akoma obi a wo network bia free. You can send money from Vodafone cash to all networks, free. So see number portability inti your friends number then. Iti ubetumi aye niema bebre. U phone utumi di ye niema bebre even on other network. Utumi change line no. Said your PBA. But say a ban of money mobile money. The only mobile money service we have in Ghana o send sika also free Vodafone cash. Iti se woni Vodafone cash na o send sika bia na utua CCA but join Vodafone so that anytime you send money you send it absolutely free. wo send sika bia e free. Dial *110# and send as much as you can. Send the sika do be a person send it be 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 on Vodafone Cash. It is free. Dial *110#. And now call Vodafone care center be a ho na register Vodafone Cash. Afei malaria Arabia enkrofo mbu but malaria yade a ekum ni papa. In fact, in Africa ope yade a ekum enkrofo pa malaria eka ho. Malaria is among the top killers in Africa. Na den na de malaria ba ntontom. Den na de ntontom ba fin bushes, stagnant waters, containers, ene enwura ayokrum. Na Africa ye dirty nintino. Mosquito de empire ho da. Empire ho da. Enti se wunya malaria as a result of mosquitoes are real. Na mosquitoes are a kawa na jono. Eno de plasmodium egu mojam na kofa malaria yade no aba. Onyankopon adom yenya effective powerful formula to kill mosquitoes and all insects. Said your hobeto. Eno ne having improved the new improved having insecticide spray and having black mosquito coil. Enti babia wo bia so huntuntum a entenase kwahwehwe having insecticide spray and a having black mosquito coil. Having insecticide spray ekum wansana, ekum flies, ekum insect, ekum ant, ekum abuawa bia, including cockroaches. Now it also leaves a pleasant, very pleasant fragrance. Into having insecticide spray and a having black mosquito coil for kum emwa ebenwo ana ewo wonchen. Now enapa foods and a day a year enapa mackerel. Rich in tomato sauce. In fact, so utu enapa mackerel anoa. Ubehu take rich red tomato sauce. It's a the tomato sauce a gum. And what would the mako can just why is stew no. Eti enapa mackerel de obia pe enam no so so and a sauce na wo ho no. I say stew. Would the mako can pe no. Enti misrel so obeto mackerel a hwehwe enapa mackerel. Ena ubeto sardine a hwehwe enapa sardine mo amoye salad vegetable salad ene de keka ono ubetumi de oil na ewo enapa sardine ho aye vegetable salad kama dokru no wanya ampesie no wanya jollof no wanya aduane bia wanya bia ope fish nam no hwehwe enapa mackerel ene enapa sardine eye soko. Mamenfa Aseda Idio Emma, the managing director, the godfather of Ghana show business and media, Dr. Father Dixon Na, NA general manager, Mr. Kennedy Osei. The show is produced by Godwin Togbe and the music provided by DJ Fletch, the award-winning stylist DJ. Bididi Abeiku Santana. You can join us on Facebook, OK 101.7 FM. Facebook, OK 101.7 FM. You can also drop your shouts, your comments on my page, Abeiku Santana Agri. And I say Abeiku Santana or Facebook. Na makenkai ni nyina edi ama. Ewie mensaka openi bia yene ne betwetwe nkomo na nkomo na ye betwetwe no. Ni nyina gina eye press releaser. The Minister for Communication, Edibetu Bes 3 days ago. And then answer and Minister for Communication, Honorable Mrs. Esla Owusu Ekufu, at the press release be betu abontain. Ghana deploys digital technology to ensure safe reopening. Etiefo bekaya kwesiada ekwemu. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, eka enhyehyeye ene adwen aban afa se ye airport na ya tumu no se nyankopon ya adomo a sade COVID-19 no eko no coronavirus ya de ne sade eko no wanhwa 1 September aban ebebie airport no atum Mijidi ye say asem we omampani ekae na ye hwe anim say after last week Sunday enke ye betwetwe ho nkomo na abusa say ekwan be so na ye bebie airport no na ekwan be so na nkrofo ba ye be test you COVID-19 ekwan be so na nkrofo mfa COVID-19 yade no emba se atiefo be kan a eye COVID-19 yade March this year, March 2020, and WHO, World Health Organization, declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic. Now, you can say COVID-19 is a global pandemic as the WHO declared that. Now, just say, a bit to me, now we know, sir, COVID-19 from March, it started from February, and I got a first case, second case, afei yani ba ye ho so no na virus a spread ama sabe ukota malekura unya bi ukwa bi ase kura ewom. Now yatena se and we have lived with the virus. Se atiefo bekaya ebeye hu ama His Excellency the President at the lockdown measures by Greater Accra and Tema and Greater Kumasi were locked down for almost 3 weeks as a measure to contain and manage the spread of the virus. Ewie yababa twetwe nkomo afa eye anamoa aban pese otu on the 1st of September in reopening our borders. Na eno na nkrofo busa se saban ebie ye border na airport na ebema virus no a spreading more na enti se we obi a upese wutu kwan na last week omampani ka say the government is taking measures and plans in consultation with technical experts on how to manage, contain and treat the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic or virus. By now, Ghana and we want to ask questions and know all the nuances of how we are going to manage the spread, because COVID-19, now it has come to stay with us. Inti aban ebe bie border 1st September no. Yabusa ye ho se aban bie border na eden enhyehyeye na aban ede ato. Inti kwasiada His Excellency the President in his state of address on COVID-19 indicated or hinted us that the border or the port will be open, God willing, 1st September. Yejane 3 days ago, which was Thursday, on the 18th of August, the Minister of Communications, Madam Esla Owusu Ekufu, at the press release about Bonting. I'm going to read a press release, and that is going to set the tone for the discussion or the conversation that we're going to have this afternoon on COVID-19, and in the subsequent weeks, if the port or the airport is open, how are we going to manage the COVID-19 pandemic?
Okay, FM.
All right, so let me read the press release. On the 18th of August 2020, Ministry of Communications, PO Box M.38 Accra, and the release. Headline: Ghana deploys digital technology to ensure safe reopening. His Excellency the President of Ghana laid out a multi-stage COVID-19 recovery plan based on science and data. Now, this program has been extremely successful in containing mortality and severe infections. Now, digital technology is now being added as the major third leg of the COVID-19 response strategy, signaling our determination to restore every sector to as much normalcy as possible while maintaining a firm grip on the management of the pandemic. We are leveraging on existing digital infrastructure and applications in addition to novel systems to create a digital shield under the overarching policy framework, transforming COVID-19 from crisis to opportunity through technology. Now, government is working to ensure the safe restoration of all sectors of the country as well as the eventual seamless reopening of regional borders. To facilitate this endeavor, government intends to leverage its digital infrastructure to become a pioneer in implementing the African Union platform Panabios. And you can check from the website www.panabios.org. Panabios. panabios.org. Now, this is a platform in addition to the COVID-19 app, which is available on both App Store and Google Play Store. Now, the key aspect of the Panabios are: 1. Identification and monitoring of various hotspots and high-risk events through the use of the Panabios application by citizens to check in and check out of such locations or events through a USSD shortcode 769. The Panabios web app, www.panabios.org, or the COVID-19 tracker app on Google Play Store or App Store. Now, the release further stated this data will be provided, or this data will provide a record of citizens who have checked in and out of hotspots and when they did so. Now, the information will also help determine when and where the individuals very likely to come into contact with potentially infected persons. Now, the authorities will stay abreast with the evolving risk picture and identify priority contacts to trace based on 1 or A, the conjunction of test results data, B, hotspot conjunction, and C, human traffic logging data. Now, all potential hotspots such as hotels, churches, conference and exhibition venues will be educated on the necessity for compliance with the new directives for digital logging of all visitors. 2. Setup of the Panabios testing model in laboratories across Ghana, starting with Greater Accra region. Now, this will enable the digitization of the test results and transfer of data through Panabios to the Ghana Health Service Disease Surveillance Department. Now, said test can subsequently be used for travel across the African region and eventually beyond. Now, individuals are also at liberty to share these secure, tamper-proof test certificates with their workplaces, schools, and institutions as necessary to increase confidence and reduce panic. Now, to test this model, returnees on repatriation flight shall commence the use of digital clearance forms generated on the panabios.org to replace current manual and paper-based processes. Quarantine spot locations or quarantine spot allocations in hotels and elsewhere shall be managed from the same interface, and thus hotels participating in this process shall use the same Panabios account that they use in conformity with the new conferencing events conjunction monitoring processes. In line with the emerging pre-travel clearance rules, cargo, crew, and other embarking passengers from Ghana shall be required to undergo coronavirus testing and electronically append their digital test results in the citizen version of the app for port health screening ahead boarding and departure. 3. The digitization of the yellow fever vaccination booklet in a 10 approved vaccination centers starting from Ridge Hospital OPD venue and the Menchia venue in Kumasi shall proceed. Now, through this method, vaccination records shall be electronically validated by the Ghana Port Health Officers. 4. Wearable quarantine monitoring devices may also be introduced to facilitate effective monitoring and supervision of those undergoing self-quarantine and protect healthcare workers and other critical staff from COVID-19 hotspots. Now, the Honorable Minister for Communication in the press release stated, now these new digital services shall be delivered at no cost to citizens or related government agencies as a result of collaboration with technology companies, telecom operators, and technical institutions. And all citizens and organizations are hereby strongly encouraged to cooperate and comply to guarantee the safe reopening of Ghana to the West or the rest of the world. Well, I'm sorry for Nkrata, Makinkai, Nkrata, the Honorable Minister for Communication, and then in answer, or the betu abontain, efa ekwaya aban, anamo aban, epesu otu, edefa yeboda, yebebie from 1st September. Etiefo bekaya, eye kwesi ade twemu, omampani, ede ninsem etu oman enim no, omayeti asye se, aban eye nhihye se, by 1st September, yebebie yeboda. Na efi kwesi ada, matena se ya adwene ho ahwe anim se nka Ghana, yebe discuss sa asemi ni abusa yan se, ekwan ben so na yebebie boda no, yebefa ama ahoho akwantufo aba oman mu ene omonso a omopeso omutukwan etukwan wabra omon spread yade no ana omonfa yade no emba oman mu ekwan ben so ene yebefa we ena yene ye production team yeduedue mu a na one of the partners to this model a consortium of public and private organizations across Africa. Omode network platform biaba ye friend no Panabios na menya omopani ba ko ha enti me pese me busa no Panabios, the Pan African Reopening Tech Platform. Panabios no the Pan African Reopening Tech Platform. Iti bomadi answer sa wo hwe yen Facebook a wo be share enkomo ya ye betwetwe because ehu hia pa. It is very important that you share this discussion or conversation we are going to have on the reopening of our border by 1st September. Se udwin wapomuden ho na COVID-19 no ye be bie border no udwin ho na obebusa on say ekwan ben so na abefa obetu kwan ekwan ben so na akwantufo ebeba oman mu. I think sir we need to start the discussion on the initiative by government to reopen its border in the African sub-region and possibly to the rest of the world. How are we going to manage it? One of the private partners or consortium abaye no de ne ho abono no ene Panabios na makofa Panabios for omopani a ohwe enkitahudi so the public affairs director at Panabios to help us throw more light on the collaboration that Panabios and the government of Ghana is going to have to as it were help manage the reopening of our port or our border, for travel, and how we can also manage the COVID-19 spread. And this is an educative conversation where addition and a year baby suya timpacho for our dream braha openi obeka sanidin the Preston Asante na mobo se openi Preston Asante untumi nka Asante obetumi aka brofo openi Preston Asante is an Asante but speaks fluent English than Akan, but the Achebiano will manage the conversation and I'll do the translation said the ubia ebetiasie. But before I do that, ma menka will say COVID-19 ekoso na Africa minim country a wabie ne border ediama the whole Africa so obi abetumi aba na Ghana and a take the first step. I know say East Africa some countries have opened their borders but to their sub-region and I say to their community. East Africa has opened to East African community. South Africa has opened to South Africa community. But West Africa, we have not opened our borders. On the 1st of September, as His Excellency the President indicated in his last address to the nation, it is possible that Ghana will open its border. Now we are asking, how are we going to manage the spread of the COVID-19? As I indicated in my preamble, WHO declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic in March when the virus started spreading from Wuhan, China to Italy to America and the rest of Europe. Then Ghana also started maybe from February. Then March, we started having. Was it March? March. We got it in March. Ghana from March. Okay. Right. So WHO declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic. Now, when they declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic, they came out with 3-step approaches to manage the COVID-19. And that is what every country is doing as we speak today. 1, contain the spread. 2, swiftly treat identified cases. And 3, cushion the economy from effects of the pandemic. So this was the 3 level approaches by various governments across the world. Now, sesia yebe bie body enhyehyɛ ben ne da ho. Ghana nhyehyɛ ene Nigeria nhyehyɛ ene Guinea nhyehyɛ ene Sierra Leone nhyehyɛ ene Mali nhyehyɛ ene Liberia nhyehyɛ ene Cote d'Ivoire. Yebenya standard measure and a standard BBS standard obeka say processor obefam wo Ghana no ukwa Nigeria the same processor na portoka say yebeka say standardization. So I would like to find out from Panabios, which is the Africa Tech company or consortium, Africa Tech consortium that has provided a platform for African countries or nations to have a form of a standard measure procedure for traveling. And no end at the government of Ghana. Now, this is the first of its kind on the continent. I must say that it's the first of its kind on the continent. So we'll discuss that in detail. This is okay. 101. Welcome, Mr. Preston Asante, Public Affairs Director at Panabios Consortium, working under the African Union. Welcome, Preston.
Thank you, Abeiku.
Good.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I want to use the opportunity to also say hello to all your listeners, and I want to thank everybody that's been part of this consortium. I also want to say thank you to your management and for having me here. Thank you.
Wonderful. I understand Panabios is an acronym that stands for Pan-African Reopening Tech Platform. Is that correct?
That is what the Panabios does. Panabios actually means Pan-African Biosurveillance System. Biosurveillance System. So just a couple of notes on Panabios. Panabios is not a tech company. Panabios is a consortium, so it means it's a coalition of different organizations. So we have public organizations, private institutions, civil societies, all combined in there. So just to go through a number of people we have in the consortium, We have the African Economic Zones Board Organization. We have the African Tourism Board. We have the African Organization for Standardization. We have the Afro Champions. Afro Champions represent all the private sectors on the continent. We have the Global Tourism Reliance, and then African Tourism Board, among many others. So the Pana BIOS is a group of organizations working together, private and public organizations. And we are working under the African Union Department of Trade and Industry. And also we are working closely with the African CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That is what Pana BIOS is.
Okay. Well, good to have the Godfather, our managing director, passing through. So, for Openi Chra, Pana BIOS for no, omo biosurveillance system, omo nye tech company. Nemum, omo amayamai inyumeku omo aka omo habom se omo pese abanye ewo Africa nyina ebi omo border. Na July 29, and omo se omo mbie border no. His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo say Ghana be bie ne border 1st September. Na yebusa say enhyehyɛ ben ene edi egu akwam because 1st September there ka be say 1 week. Na enkrofo ba nso a omo de yare na eba. Na Ghana fo nso kwa ekwan ben so COVID-19 test oya edi how many hours ansa na watumi de atukwan na ukodu akwantuo ho a unya yade ni bi wo kwan so ye be den na ehu say during the travel process or during the travel no kra unko peke yade no virus na we ene nkomo a ye pese ye ne opani etwetwe. Thanks to our managing director Dr. Father Dixon na joining us. So tell me, how is this Pana BIOS application and the press release Madam Esla Owusu Ekufu released 3 days ago? How is it going to work?
Thank you very much again. So the Pana BIOS team has been working with different governments across the continent. I want to say thank you to the government of Ghana for leading the whole continent. The Pana BIOS solution is a continental solution, and Ghana and the people of Ghana, the government of Ghana under the visionary leadership of President Akufo, has demonstrated in taking the leading role in the deployment of this solution. The solution seeks to achieve a couple of reasons, a couple of objectives, which I'll go through now. So the first one is that we want to not just open the borders, we want borders to safely reopen. We want to see how can we make sure that borders are opened, but people are very safe. So our objective is to safely reopen borders because it is at the heart of our economic activities across the continent that borders are open. When borders are closed, economic activities cannot go back to how it was before the pandemic. And that is affecting a lot of lives and livelihoods. So that is the first objective, to safely reopen the borders. The second objective is to work with the various state members under the African Union to come up with better ways to manage the COVID-19. Just to give you context, Africa has 55 countries. Each of these countries has a different approach to the containment or management of COVID-19. So we want to be able to help all of this. The consortium wants to be able to help government initiatives, all of these countries within the 55, all these 55 countries to better manage the COVID-19. Why this is important is that if one country is able to manage the COVID-19 and all the other countries are not able to manage the COVID-19, we will not be able to open the borders. Think about it this way. Ghana has been able to keep the COVID-19 down. If Ghana is able to do that, but the neighboring countries are not able to do that, it means we cannot open the borders. So it should be of concern to all of us that in as much as we try to get our COVID-19 numbers down, our neighbors are able to do the same thing. So the Panel Bios Consortium is working with all the member states of the African Union to find a common platform to contain the COVID-19 and better manage it so that our borders can reopen.
Right, let me do a quick translation. Ebusia for Panel Bios said the Medika and Africa Juma Emma African Union AU. Na African Union institutions be a share as it is African Economic Zones Organization, Afro Champions, the AU Department of Trade and Industry, Cold Chain, and national government initiatives. Omuna omwabe kamu huabum under AU say see COVID-19 yentumi international kase just virus on a few years ansana yebetu kwan enti say yeba betu kwan a enhyehyɛ ben na yede agu enti Panabios no oye consortium eye enwumaku amaka ho abom eboa aman aban say munyina mubenya eye enhyehyɛ potokasa mebeka benya standard enhyehyɛ a obia bedi so na ne Ghana nhyehyɛ ukọ Nigeria saa na tie ukọ Cote d'Ivoire saa na tie ukọ Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa omunyina obia di saa nhyehyɛ no so nti asase enya nhyehyɛ a oman bia befa so adi so ansana yatumi atukwan ne yabie border no nti omoni so ade hunu ni one omo objective ne say omo beboa for the safely reopening of our borders esese yebie ye borders no nya Ghana nko a Africa amama ni nyina na yeye wo ekwan papa so a enkofa ohaw ene yade bebre emba afedi etoso bio omune eye state members eye Africa amama ni nyina ye 55 countries ewo Africa ekwan ben so ena omobeboa they will help the state members of AU to better manage COVID-19 na afenso no ya hwe ekwan a obia efa so no se pepepe we ene Panabios no omani so ade hunu ana se ade omode esi omani so enu nti omode omo abebo the government of Ghana. Okay, now let me ask, the government of Ghana has a tech app called COVID-19 Tracker app, which was launched some months ago. Now, Panabios also has a platform that also, as it were, help citizens of checking in and checking out from various hotspots and even before boarding and departure or arriving. How is Panabios, platform going to work alongside with the government COVID-19 tracker app or application?
Thank you, Abeiku. That's a very brilliant question. So, all the thanks to the Minister of Communications and then her outfit for their work on the COVID-19 app. The Panabios platform, what the Panabios team and then the platform seeks to do is not very different from what the COVID-19 app also does, except that the Panabios platform is a very comprehensive tech solution. So whereas the Ghana COVID-19 app is used to monitor disease transmission risk, which is also under Panabios, Panabios is also looking at how can we help the Ghana Health Service with their contact tracing. How can we help at the borders, which we are currently speaking about? How can we help production hubs, factories, help with their employees to not get infected? So the Panabios platform is very comprehensive. It covers all of this. It also covers issues about vaccination. So in the event that we come up with a vaccination, how do we make sure that we don't have nonchalance coming up with some fake vaccinations to infiltrate the system? How do we standardize all of this? So the Panabios is a very comprehensive solution. The last distinction is that whereas the Ghana COVID-19 app is just for Ghana, the Panabios is continental. So it works in all the other countries in Africa.
Wonderful, brilliant. I mean, great idea. How does the Panabios project, how is it going to affect the lives of the ordinary person every day?
Great, thank you. So the Panabios, I would quickly want to run you through some of the projects we are doing as contained in we are doing together with the various governments, especially the government of Ghana, which is taking a lead role. One of the things we are doing under the Panabios project is to set up Panabios testing models in laboratories across the country. And this is also in relation with travel. So just to give you context, the traditional approach to opening the borders as it stands it looks like two things are going to happen, would naturally happen. So we are going to mount a lot of screening at the borders, which is very good. It's not bad. What that means is that people could spend a lot of time at the airport, for example. So you could get to the airport and spend like 8 hours or more just to go through the system. There is no problem with that, even though it could be inconvenient travelers. We want to see how can we make that more comfortable for travelers across the continent. The other option is that we could also ask travelers to come with their test results. So if you are traveling to another country, you come with your test result to show that you are actually negative or you don't have COVID-19. The problem that arises from that is, how does one country trust the test result of another country? So supposing you are traveling from Accra, Ghana to Lagos, and then you've done the test at the border in Accra, at the airport. When you get to Lagos, what is the guarantee that the agency there, the people mandated to the public health system there, can verify that the result you have is actually accurate? So we need to be able to standardize the whole process. And that is what we seek to do with the Panabios. So we want to set up Panabios testing models across the whole laboratories across the continent, so that when you do a COVID test in Ghana and go to South Africa, once you show it on your phone, everybody trusts it. And they can actually verify it there and there that you are actually negative.
All right, talking about the process of verifying the test result of travelers. I have a client who is traveling on Tuesday. Actually, he's a student. He's going to Finland and has to go through KLM. So in acquiring, the travel, facilitation process, he has to get his COVID-19 test. First, we went to Akai Clinic, opposite the U.S. Embassy. Today, we're told that they don't have the swab available to do the test, and he should come next week by Monday. He's traveling on Tuesday, and I understand the test also takes like 48 hours, and after 48 hours, you can travel the 72 hours period. My question is, what are some of the user guidelines on events like hotspot, lodging, traveling, venue, location? So I'm traveling. I need to do the COVID-19 test. I have done the COVID-19 test. What period or how long should it take before I go onto the Panabios platform to fill those details, and how valid would that information that I provide be on checking in or going through the airport disembarking process?
Great, that's a very brilliant question. So to start with, I'm happy you brought up the issue of your cousin or niece having to do the test.
It's actually a client.
Okay. And he was told it could go after 72 hours.
Yes.
So that in medicine,
some of the labs don't have the test available. As I'm speaking today, this morning, I went to Akai Clinic, opposite the U.S. Embassy. So we're directed to go to Nyaho Clinic, and that is where he was able to do the test. Hopefully Monday we'll get the result. Then he will travel on Tuesday, which is 25th. So he will get his results like 24 hours before he travels. But between today that he did a test and Monday that he will pick the results, and he's traveling on the 25th, which is Tuesday, if there's the likelihood that he has picked the virus, what is the proof guarantee of this whole application process, which is trying to as it were, verify whether the traveler is not carrying the virus?
Brilliant question. So this issue has come up, I think, in almost every cabinet meeting, and all the countries that are managing COVID-19. So the scenario you've described right now is what you call the lead screening time. So some of the countries expect that when you take a COVID-19 test, the test is only valid after 72 hours. Some of them would not, the borders at the airports, they will not accept it after 24 hours. So there's a lot of discrepancies. And this goes back to my earlier opening remarks that
there should be standardization.
Standardization. So as we speak, there is a COVID command center, which is made up of a lot of technical people across the continent, and they are having discussions on precise rules around this testing time validity, and it is made up of all the member states. So once they come up, these are medical people. So once they come up with a very fixed time they come up with a precise testing time, this will be incorporated into the technology.
Right.
But also, let me quickly add that you don't get to upload this result yourself. When all the laboratories across the continent, when they are enrolled by their governments, accredited and enrolled by their governments onto the platform, once you take a test with them, they send you a mail. They send you a mail. They also send all the people that you would come in contact with the same message.
What do you mean by all the people you come in contact with? I'm traveling to, say, London.
Yes.
I'm going to the UK.
So we are talking about the immigration systems.
Okay, the immigration
systems. And all the health screening
at the ports.
All the health screening. So when you get there, they send you, it's like a consolidated pass. It's like a code, a 2D barcode, what you use when you see a WhatsApp web.
Yeah, I get it.
So you show that on your phone, and then once they scan it, they're able to get your information.
So that is how the PanaBios
that's how it works. It's very consolidated. You can use your phone, and if you don't have a smartphone, it gives you a passcode as well. So you can just write the numbers on your traveling document.
Let me pick a resource person on the line to also ask one or two questions. He's an aviation expert and one of the key partners in managing COVID-19 in the event of reopening our borders from the 1st of September, as the president has indicated, is aviation. And we want to find out how safe, how secured, how easy, how transparent, how user-friendly would this application be to vis-a-vis those who are not highly educated, and how they can go about this, because traveling is very democratic, regardless whether you're educated or not. And in the event of such a tech application, how would uneducated people, those who are not, tech, inclined, be able to understand how this works. He's an aviation expert, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Abeiku. Medasipa.
Yeah.
Me wo nsɛmfua baako mmienu bi a mepɛ sɛ mebisa Mr. Asante. Na akwantufoɔ etimi so enya arehwemu ɛwɔ platform ne so Panabios. Ne di kan mebisa sɛ so obetimi ɛde yafa a simple process map anase nhyehyɛ ni mu sɛ meyɛ ɔkwantuni ɛnɛ metu kwan na ansa na mekɔ no ɛkwan bɛn so ɛna ɛsɛ metumi yɛ test no ansa na metu kwan no ɛno yɛ ne di kan wɔdi kan akyerɛ sɛ ɛyɛ AU platform etimi pɛ sɛ mehu sɛ AU di a Africa Union ɛyɛ Africa ɛyɛ African countries pɛ ɛna ɛbɛ recognize anase international wide no I mean ɛno so recognize say utimi bua me we wi na me de ne to so aba.
Okay, President.
All right, thank you. So the Panabios, like I mentioned earlier, is working at the African Union level. So it is there's a discussion. There's been a discussion for many months now among member states, and the solution we are talking about is not for a particular country; it's for the whole continent. And how that helps us is that. Okay, let me quickly mention that there's been a broader consultation. So we've been working with the African Tourism Board. We've been working with the Global Tourism Reliance. We've been working with the African Organization for Civil Aviation.
Let me direct you to his question.
Okay.
He asks three key questions. One, take us through a simple process of this Panabios, application platform. Two, how travelers should go about the test.
Yeah.
And three, as you indicated or as you mentioned, the Panabios platform is an AU platform. Would it be accepted and recognized by regional countries like Europe, UK, US, blah blah blah? Would they accept this platform, this standard that is set by Panabios, which is coming from Africa?
Great, thank you. So I was actually answering the last question, then I come to the first. So I was laying the background for the last question. So because there's been a broader consultation, this is not one person's initiative, and this is at the AU level. There is also engagement with other partners, continental partners like the European Union and all the civil aviation organizations involved. And that has made the process easier. What this means is that Africa as a whole has just one platform. So instead of, say, UK dealing with all the countries one by one, now it is easier. So there's that discussion going on between the African Union as a group and then other civil aviation organizations outside Africa. So that is to answer the last question. So it will be very easy, and I think it's the only alternative when you compare it to each of these aviation organizations dealing with African countries one by one. That is going to bring chaos. Now, on the first question, what does a traveler do? So in the coming days, each of the member states through their respective agencies, the rights agencies, are going to announce the instructions. Like I mentioned earlier, this is at the agency level. So the only thing a traveler would need to do is to download the Panabios app, which is very free, to download the Panabios app. All the other things are already synchronized into the public health system of all the respective countries and then the immigration systems. You don't get to download and send everything is consolidated. The idea is that we want a consolidated pass, something very simple that you go and do a test, the test is already sent through the system. So it means that this is at agency level, government level. Once you go to do a test, you're a traveler, and then the embassy asks you to go and take a particular test, COVID-19 test and you go and do the COVID-19 test, all this, the laboratory where you go and do the COVID-19 test is already certified by the government under the AU. It's certified by the appropriate bodies. Your test results are already synchronized into their surveillance system. So once you have done that, you can go straight, you follow the normal procedure as it were before COVID-19.
Okay.
And when you get to the airport where there is a screening, you don't have to, you can, for if you are as evidence of your test, you only open your COVID-19 app and then you are able to display the code that you've been given. Or if you don't have your phone with you, once you take the test, they'll give you a passcode. You can give the passcode out at the traveling points, the health points at the airports, and you'll be easy. It's easy to go through.
Mr. Chair, are you on the line?
I'm on the line, but Abeiku Pacho, let me say, in Chemino, in see Pikaka and Mammy. Me pese or say, me or continue, me to coin a Joada. Then na me me test me who anasa me kwame test me as na me to coin a Joada no. Me hospital bi a me ko anasa app no me nya bo me information na questionnaire so baby sa me no na afi a chese me wo bi anasa me ni bi. Me do airport me de say na ya ma me ko.
Okay, where the mame and Emma. So, like he said, various governments are going to come out with clear guidelines of how to travel, and governments and the so the government of Ghana from the 1st of September, as the president has indicated, if the government comes out, Obeka. So if you want to travel, you take this step. So if you want to travel on, say, Wednesday, maybe you take your test 48 hours before. What Pana BIOS is doing with the member states under AUNICE, they are synchronizing, certifying all the various labs now with the aviation immigration system. So once you take the test at the lab, automatically the report or the test report goes straight to the airport, goes straight to the immigration. It goes into the system. So you will get maybe your hard copy, results and go through the normal process. But when you get there, you have a QR code that can scan and it has everything. You understand? So so what Pana BIOS is doing is to have the various governments are coming out with their modalities or guidelines of reopening their border. But Pana BIOS is converging all the member states onto a platform with their various laboratories a better testing, because any lab will be a COVID-19 test. Once a laboratory is a COVID-19 accredited laboratory, their system, the lab will have a system that if a traveler, because the embassies are also going to come out with their guidelines. Once government comes out with their guidelines, the embassy will also come with their guidelines. So before the embassy will also release your visa to you, the embassy is also linked or integrated into the lab. The same system. The same system. So both the embassy, it's like how our aviation work and the visa, is integrated. So if we are doing, profiling, we know everything about you. So Pana BIOS is bringing all the member, states and their various institutions or partners under the management of COVID-19 and travel all onto one platform. I don't know whether it is clear from there.
I've been my last one say we are tester Embrahim Nidi and Sana Ewu the validity period no saying.
Is it a health expert to answer this question, or Panabios, you are capable. You can because I know you are a private consortium helping the various institutions to have an equal playing field. But if you have an answer, since you've been engaging government, tell us.
Okay.
There is currently a discussion going on still among government experts under the COVID Command Center. So they'll come up with all of that, the lead time. As in, how long can your test be valid? They need to be standardized across the continent. So Ghana will not have one different from Nigeria and all of that. We'll all have one.
Yo, Mr. Sante, you better say that. You better say only stakeholders so aviation, money other agencies. So if you be I was so na it me up promoting at the papa. Your man penny at the be about this.
Mr. Chair, I think that the reason why we want to lead this discussion is that government has set a timeline for reopening of our borders. But across the media landscape, Mentisa will be a discussion on it. So this is the first of the series of discussion or conversations we are going to have to get, stakeholders to also come out with their suggestion how we can properly and effectively, implement the application or the program.
And also educate.
And educate, yes, because Bebreni said inti se pana bios abase ono a consortium or person of the government of Ghana. How stakeholders, i.e. aviation experts, travel and tour operators, individuals, the steps and the process that we need to go through before we can travel. Now, ansana, we will manage this new normal. I mean, it's a new normal that we are living. So we have to learn all this. But thanks for your questions. Very important, valid, straight on point questions that also will take into consideration. I think, sir. Okay.
Maybe some last one.
Go ahead, sir.
At the cost, the bread passengers and say the booby baby can ticket cost no, and I say make up for your baby. Meet your ticket.
Beautiful question.
Yeah, beautiful question. Yeah. So it is free. As Abeiku has read from the press release, the Panas Bios platform is very free to all travelers, and it's also free to government and government agencies.
Oh, okay.
Yes. No traveler would have to pay for using the Panas Bios system. No government or government agency would also have to pay for using the system. It is very free. Mind you, one of the members of the consortium is Afro Champions. And Afro Champions represent all the private sectors across the continent. So they are coming on board with their financial strength, their resources, technological resources, and all of that. So this is the help from all the members of the consortium to the continent.
So, Mr. Chair, next week we seek to engage the Ghana Health Services. Correct. Because they will accredit the various laboratories to undertake the COVID-19 test. Okay. And how decentralized would this COVID-19? Because already, I went to Archive House today to do COVID-19 test for my client. They said they don't have the swabs for today. You should come on Monday. So in the unlikely event you want to travel within a short time, you have resident permit, or you have a part. In fact, you are eligible to travel at any time. I want to buy my ticket. So what is left is your COVID-19 test. And I go to a facility and they don't have it. Ebeha and Yemana. So Yebebusa, a hifa. Me wo Tamale, ana me wo Akosomwa. Should I come to Accra to do the COVID-19 test? Me wo Sogakopa. We want to see how decentralized the test centers will be. Exactly. And Ghana Health Service will come in. Then the Ministry of Communication also has a role to play. And I read the press release from the Minister of Communication. So I want to see government to private partners level consultation discussions for the safe reopening of our borders and how we can go about. Thanks so much for your time, and we appreciate your contribution.
Thank you very much, Abi.
It's always my pleasure. Now, on the line is Mr. Kojo Bentum Williams. He's a senior expert in Sorry. Mr. Kojo Bentum Williams is a senior expert on communications for UNWTO Africa, United Nations World Tourism Organization. A senior expert in communication has joined us. Mr. Bentum Williams, good afternoon. Hello. Mr. Bentum Williams, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, am I audible enough for you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. So, for the past about 30 to 45 minutes, we're having conversation on the safe reopening of our borders and a pan-African consortium that has come together to help or assist governments of the 55 member states in managing the reopening, the safe reopening of our borders. So we have Mr. Pristine Asante, the head of public affairs of the Panabios Consortium, working under the African Union, which is also, coming out with clear, goal strategy of how we can effectively open our borders. I hope you've been listening to the discussion.
No, I've been listening to the conversation.
Wonderful.
And, I think it's very interesting. I just heard what Richard said, and he asked most of the questions as well. But there are a few areas that obviously I would like to also maybe answer the question on those areas and see how I can really push the things, together. Because
Pepacho said, "Phone was speaker and Kayifi speaker na yente."
No, it's not a speaker.
All right, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. No, it's not a speaker, so you can go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
So what I was saying was that I listened to the conversation, and Richard, raised some questions which I think was very legitimate. You see, now I wanted to ask some few things because I didn't tune in early. My first point was that because I heard you talking about an AU coordinated approach, but as we stand now, Noah, you realize that there are different regulations from different countries. So if you go to Kenya, if you go to Seychelles, if you go to Rwanda, Cote d'Ivoire, etc., they believe different protocols. So how then will the Panabios be accepted in either source markets or destinations? I just want to have more clarity on that.
Yes, over to you. He has answered it,
I think I've answered that, but I can repeat that. So I want to say that the consortium is engaging all governments and government agencies at the AU level. So you've made reference to Seychelles and all of that. All of them are in discussion as we speak. And this solution is also not a solution for just Ghana. The solution was architectured by all of these people. It is not a solution that was architectured in isolation of these people. They've all been part of it. The various governments were themselves those who recognize the disparities in their approach. And they realize that if they don't come together, they don't collaborate, they don't harmonize their efforts, no matter how good their approach is, they'll still not be able to open the borders. And their economies cannot go back to how it was before the pandemic. So this solution was designed by all these people on board. And as we speak, all these member states are still having conversations at the trade and industry level, at the health level, at all the various levels as to how to properly roll it out. And we've indicated that the method for rolling it out will be announced by the various governments in the coming weeks or days.
Mr. Bentum, is it clear?
Okay. No. Now my next question was that sometimes once we have the policy, and I believe you've seen what is happening in European Union, where other countries are now saying different things. So my point I wanted to get to was the fact that where we are committed to go by to go with this Panabios, so that if I'm supposed to travel and then I'm expected to have a certain type of result, am I confident that if I use this application or this platform now, it's something that is acceptable? That's what I'm saying, because sometimes you have the regulations, and then once you get to the port of entry, I'm linking the port of entry to the point where you talk about the QR code. And you know some of the airports, and when you get there, they want the physical yellow card, or sometimes they want a physical certificate.
Okay, so your point is clear. The acceptability of the platform. I think you also answered that earlier, but if you can clarify it.
Yeah. So the short of it is that it is acceptable everywhere. Once all the conversations, discussions, and negotiations are finalized at the African Union level, you are able to travel on using with the help of the platform across all the countries in Africa. And so once all the European and American and all the other our sister bodies are rolled on, are integrated, that would help you to travel everywhere. But so this is just a matter of days.
Just hold on a moment for me, and hold on, Mr. Bintum Williams. I want to refer to the Minister for Communications press release released about 2 days ago. In paragraph 3 and 4. In paragraph 3, the minister said or stated that Ghana will become the pioneer country in implementing the African Union platform, which is the PanaBios, which means this platform is yet to be implemented in other African countries, and Ghana, for that matter, is the first country that is going to implement it with respect to the directive from President's address that 1st September. Our borders will be open. Am I correct?
Okay, so let me clarify that. So before technology products are rolled out, they go through phases. So one of the phases is the pilot phase. We've been lucky that Ghana for the past few years has aggressively been pursuing a very digitization process. If you're in Ghana, you've heard of digitization. So the government of Ghana, through an initiative under the Ministry of Communications, it's called TransCop, Transforming COVID-19 into Opportunities, have had a lot of digital innovations. So PanaBios has been piloted in many ways. For example, PanaBios was used for queue management, decongestion. We don't want people to gather at one place. So during the Electoral Commission voter registration exercise, the Electoral Commission came up with the PanaBios, a use for the PanaBios, where people could text could text *769# and then once they follow the prompt, they are able to book appointment for their card. So they don't have to go to the test centers and line up from 2 a.m. It was piloted in Accra, Tema, and some other constituencies, and it was all over the news. So the PanaBios platform has been piloted in Ghana. I think that's what the minister was making reference to. And Ghana has shown leadership, and Ghana has accepted it, and we piloted it in many ways.
Okay. Then in paragraph 4 of the release, the minister said identification and monitoring of various hotspots and high-risk events through the use of the PanaBios application. Now, tell the ordinary Ghanaian, how does the platform identify a hotspot, and how does the platform can indicate that this is a hotspot event?
Great, Abeiku. That's a brilliant question. So I was thinking right after we had talked about the ports, about the laboratory, we're going to move to that.
Okay, so before you answer that, an aviation journalist and consultant for Ethiopian Airlines, Mr. Dominic Ando, has joined us on the line to also ask some key questions. Dominic, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Nyanko Padum. Where you travel and aviation and tourism. We've been itchy and expectant. Say, abai EBBA a year border no na our business can resume. And the Minister for Communication released a press statement 3 days ago on the 18th of August. His Excellency the President also indicated in his last address to the nation under COVID-19 Sunday said tentatively 1st September government will consider reopening the border. Now, we've been looking forward to industry players to have deeper conversation on these highlights that government has given us. So, utie enkomo a bobono Panabios a Pan-African consortium omoboa 55 member countries war AU to have a standard safe system of operating under the COVID-19 pandemic season, how they can safely and effectively open their borders for travel. I don't know if you've been following the conversation and your thoughts and questions.
Oh yes, I've been closely following it. Now, the thing said, they say August 26th, decision about modalities. Can be fast for a baby airport I'm the na betuga. The key question and some of my comments be soon say, Panabayo bit me abwa. Develop one integrity system into key labs can 17 airport system and sana 31st September neduana. Cause I know bebuapa. And as I met me pia now more share take his decision by 26 August who send your bay juma normally can one boy because 26 take his decision no modalities near the Toha, Mrs. Abayedin. I think so. Never boa so they say, Wagana Hano, Kutoka when in Brepa. If you in 6 p.m., I could see 11 p.m. A honor nipa bapa. They say, Quaya, or Moody home, come say a person be airport. A Yahoo Mensa. So, Baby Dua, you better test 30 minutes no change your results and San Wakufi. Nabi, she say in Bree. British Airways abisi wo, Emirates abisi wo, KLM abisi wo, akesi ni na aba, na nipa be 4,000 abo achi so airport wo. Ubenya de bia manipa dudu wo se atna wana wa twom result na abedin. Nti yetsie mu no, se Panabios ba na betimi ya se adwuma na track nipa ni yia. And the nipa ni ba no de ni PCR test no chere airport. You say ai wo ya 72 and san na oba Ghana. Na ndie wa download app no. You team the app na track you. It won't now 30 minutes and now 1 hour. I'm a one cheer airport. Because I know girls but some go infection for rubber. In so much me and Sadia, the question is a boy pa. Anonymous key concern. Okay, so Jinasumai, so how do we learn to live this new normal in the face of travel protocols arrangement vis-a-vis the new protocol, requirements in traveling and the Panabios platform coming in and the question that he asked?
Okay, so just to sum all of them up, I think it's a very brilliant question. So I think we would all have to get used to it somehow. Like you mentioned, it's a new normal. So prior to this, there was no fears. Now, one of the main things, even among travelers, is fears. So what can we do to make sure that we bring back confidence? What can we do to make sure we bring back confidence into the system? And that's what Panabios helps us to do. Our consultant on the line also mentioned something we had talked about earlier, also about how people are stranded at the airports. So some of the countries, you would have to get there, you do a test. Before you leave, you have to do a test, wait for the results. When you get to your destination, you have to take the same test again, because of trust issues. And that is exactly what this platform seeks to do. So I don't know whether I've answered the question. And also, he talked about how soon can we roll out this project. The infrastructure is ready in all the countries as we speak. Okay. The work on this has been going on for months, all throughout the pandemic season. So I think that in the coming days or weeks, the respective governments they are the appropriate persons to make that determination. But the infrastructure is ready. Everything has been integrated, like we've been saying. The platform is not yet to be built. It's already in the system. It's been piloted in many ways. So that is to answer the first question.
All right, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Bacho, oye clear ho. Okay. And your Pacho and Koswani team come on na Bibi wo muso abetumi asend e WhatsApp na dia atudwa. All right. Yeah, that's CP. Okay, so Mr. Pristin Astante, I'll refer to the Minister for Communications press release because that becomes, the benchmark for every question that I want to ask, because the minister has indicated that the government of Ghana is collaborating with Panabios, to leverage on the platform that you have come out with for the continent. Now, in line with the emerging pre-travel health clearance rules, one has to take the COVID test, for some hours, or some days before you can, embark on your journey. Now, your platform is said can identify some high risk hotspots from hotels, restaurants, and places that the traveler has been. How are you going to identify the hotspots?
Great question. So, I mentioned that this continental solution is very comprehensive. So one of the issues is hotspots. So let me say what hotspot is. A hotspot is any physical location where your chances of getting infected at that location is very high. So for example, we know that when people come to one place, a lot of people come to one place, their chances of infection is very high. So under the model, all places that could be hotspots, places where people congregate, so you're talking about hotels and all of that, they get to the Panabios app, which is very free. Then they register that, can I use this place as an example? Supposing a lot of people congregate here every day, you just go online, register Peace FM Studio, then it will generate a code for you. Either it will generate both a 2D barcode or a passcode for you, and you keep it on your door. So everybody that walks in here looks at the passcode and tests to a free number 769, or use their phone because they have the app to scan the code on your door. What happens is that people that are asymptomatic, people that don't show signs but still they have COVID-19, anytime we do a test and then they are flagged that you've had COVID-19, all the places they visited, the people that have gone to the same locations are given alert immediately that on the 25th of last month, you were in this meeting, you were at Peace FM between 3 to 5. Around that same time, somebody was there who we know for sure is case. So we think that we want to help you to get tested for free.
That brings me to this important question on data protection. And we know our society and stigmatization on, some diseases, including COVID-19. When COVID-19, cases started popping up, some people were even hiding. Some were hiding or even shying from telling people that I have tested positive for COVID-19. There are few people who demonstrated, courageousness to come out to say that, I've tested positive for COVID-19 and I'm going through the treatment process and all that. Due to our societal stigmatization, effect, I'm concerned about data protection. I go to the laboratory, a popular person, famous person, and before I go to the airport to embark on my journey, it is out there that this person has tested positive for COVID-19. And Ghana, wahala, plenty wahala. Your family people will start running away. So, how is the data of the traveler going to be protected?
Great. Thank you very much for this question too. Brilliant. So you mentioned two things. You mentioned data protection and you mentioned stigmatization. I want to talk about the last one first, then I address the first one. So stigmatization. I think digital solutions generally compared to the manual writing is the best solution for in the campaign for the against stigmatization. What that means is that in the past, where we used to have everything is done on paper and pen, you have very little control over who had access to that information. Anybody at all who was moving in the environment could look on the paper on the table and see that this is Abeiku Santana and they've written positive there, you know. But once it becomes digitized, what it also means is that there is a control of who gets to see it. Between the time you leave the test center all the way through to the airport, there is a control on the people who have access to it because it's digital. I mean, compared to if it were just paper and pen you move around in your taxi with. Also, another aspect of the stigmatization is with the alert system. So in the past, whereas people had to call you, people from the surveillance team had to call you on the phone and tell you that we think you have COVID-19. We want to come and pick you. You know, that created a lot of tension. That is still good. But we want to see how can we make it better. That is great, but how can we make it better? When you are tested, you're able to have a digital conversation with the team, the disease surveillance team. Like, when do you want to come? And that kind of thing. It's better than the traditional system. That is for stigmatization. So this platform, the Pana-BIOS platform, took into consideration all of this into its design, how to maintain people's privacy. Now, also on data management, which is very tied to issues about stigmatization and privacy. Data management follows the same line of reasoning. Because everything is consolidated and you would need access to go into such a system to be able to access somebody's information. It is only people that are authorized, people that are bounded by professional ethics, either through their line of work or interaction, that can have access to your information. More so, the information required on this platform is not informations like what is your bank account. They are everyday informations you give out on the street. What is your name? What is your telephone number? You know, so that we can test you or something. They don't ask you for anything that will make you feel uncomfortable. It doesn't ask you for bank account number, Momo, and any of these things. Things you would consider very, very delicate information. So that is on data management too.
All right, so 15 minutes past 4. Let me do a quick translation and then we'll continue. I think we'll end it in the next 5 minutes. Also for Nkoma, yeah, tricky and entertainment in Komo, apomudi Nkomo, fa ye safety. Me fan say Ekwanpapa, ye be faso abai omampani say 1st September ye be your borders. Na je say ye be your borders akwantifo beba. Omo peso mutu kwan so ebeko na enhwehwe wo ne se obi tu kwan a obekọ akọ COVID-19 test oye COVID-19 test na emre dodo sen de sese di ansa na ode atu kwan esanse ubetumi aye test ne uye negative results beba nanso ansa na obetu kwan no wakọ akonya yade no ana wakọfa virus no Pana-BIOS eye enyumaku a aka won ho abon a ehye African Union ase ewo AU na omune eye aban ewo Africa nyina na eka bomu aye nhehye a ebeboa ama nhehye bi a oman bi ade beto se ne manfo etu kwan a san nhehye no ene oman bi ade ebeyepe na Pana-BIOS no eye platform a se wo pese utu kwan a na wo ye COVID-19 test na ekwan obefa so na sa platform no omo link e de ama eye laboratory na abekwa akwa test no ombe link ama embassy abekwa akwa visa ombe link e de ama immigration any aviation airport any airline no a okwa akofa no iti Pana-BIOS na wotia no wotia e de ma African Union AU aka aban ana amai enhwehwe a omo beye na omo aka omo nyina bom iti Pana-BIOS ejina ma Africa asa platform European Union beji atum said ukra eye Pana-BIOS authenticated results, COVID-19 results are ura Europa yen ka se san be test foforo ana omahu se wafa through ehhehye nimu san komori ene atwetwea muslim fan se 1 hour ebia wutie na bia ne yaka ne brofo san se opani na otia ne twi enye nso odi asante enti no ye try se ye bechichemu ye bebubum kakra na obia ate ase na me de ehia me ne se meye akwantu ene ensahwe ho adwuma travel and tourism enti minister for communication edibetu bia na omampani nso eka se obebie border no na ehu behia se enhyehyɛ ben na yedi agukwan mu na ekwan ben na yefa so yedi kan ebo aban abaso ewo saa anamontu yi esan se saa anamontu yi anamontu a ebeboa ama yatumi amanage COVID-19 no ewo kwan papa so a enkofa yade no entre emba nti yebo aban abaso wo ho na mom panabios na ode ne ho abebo aban no yepese yebusa se eden na aban no esese oye ansa na saa nema we nyina edimu esese wo kọ COVID-19 healthcare center laboratory na akọ test. How many COVID-19 test laboratories ene wo Accra say na meka se mi tu kwan a mekwa metumi akọ wadi kan aka Ministry of Communication me fan se ehhehye bi omde ba test Trancop ema ubetumi ayisu short code *769 ede ebuki se wo ba be COVID-19 test ebe kire laboratory available epese ebusa se as government intends to reopen its border, with this Transcorp pilot program or project that they did be implemented into the Panabios platform, and how effectively would that be? How many health laboratory centers have been accredited and will be roped onto the platform? We ene and sembisabia me pese me bisa, but SSU will be ejitu say aban etu anamon se by September ye be a border ekwan be so na be fa so etu kwan, and ye be sre ye media no say let the media engage the various stakeholders in to find out how we are going about it, because bebre nim anya sa na obi ankoye de sese oye Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Ghana Immigration Service, Ghana Health Services, Ministry of Communication, embassies, travel and tour operators, airlines, and obia say yeba bebie ye border no. Are we ready to live the new normal? Ya crowd say enhyehyefo free na oye COVID-19 test na countries ben na betumedia akọ ene de keka we ne nkomo a ye twetwe na ora Preston Asante de ofri Panabios, or a public affairs director Edma Panabios, which is a consortium working under the African Union. Nti omo ene sa tech solution approach ebama all the 55 member countries under the AU. But what are the individual African member states doing? The modalities, the guidelines, no more the egu akwem and also no ye hwehwe na ya dwen ho abusuafo ye da obi asese wotie na ono nso wo hwe o asembisa bia obetumi ede ato ho matise bi no eka pacho radio station bia wo ho kwan de opesu discuss ye na make say we are biased because of our appreciation and inclination with travel, aviation and tourism. But I think to a very large extent who be here ubia obetu kwan bia esesa woti ase enhyehyɛ foforo na aba no aban de enhyehyɛ eba de ma akwantufo esesa wuhu na ebisa nti mejiri yesa by next week no government ebe start so abebo the rule no biate. Ministry of Communication edikan edi press release aba enene nansa omampani President Anado nso eka ho asem Sunday no enti na me hwe anim se ye betwetwe ho nkomo this week ba mantin komono and into the microphone penifo ya ba intino. I hope say next week, as we have set the tone for the conversation on the safe reopening of our borders and how Panabios platform and the COVID-19 tracker app and the Trancop USSD short code will all be integrated into the processes. We have to asoni agrikrisa and commodina. So in wrapping up, Mr. Pristin Asante, what will be your final message for our listeners?
I want to say thank you again to our listeners for their time, and also to the nation of Ghana, also to the government for leading this this great initiative. As we have discussed in this session, the Panabios is a very holistic and comprehensive solution. We want to see how we can digitize the yellow fever so that people don't get to carry their yellow fever to the ports for traveling and all of that. How can we make sure that we safely reopen the borders? And also,
I was excited that the paperless vaccination card.
Yes,
this is something that we've been talking about at the African Travel Partners and Africa Travel Forum. We'll be talking about why should we carry yellow paper vaccination?
That is right, Abeiku. I mean, there is no reason why you should still be doing that. But in the next few days and weeks, we would hear the governments come up with all this, the modalities for rolling all of this out. And this is a great initiative. And the last thing I want to say about Panabios is that this solution was designed by Africans. This is not a solution imported elsewhere from Europe or something. This has been designed by African technologists all throughout the continent, AI, artificial intelligence people, data scientists on the continent. So this is a homegrown solution. And this is actually the first in the world. No other continent has a comprehensive system that covers from contact tracing to all the other systems. Today, we didn't discuss how it helps with contact tracing, but then I think that will come up.
No, our subsequent conversation on the Panabios and the government of Ghana's measures in reopening the borders will bring in other experts from the other sectors, aviation, the ministry, so that we can all be on the same level playing field. Great. But before you leave us, can citizens or listeners go onto the Panabios website as we speak now, and what are they possibly going to see if they go onto the site? What information are they going to get?
When they go to the site, they are able to download the app for free on the site. So as many people that can do, would encourage them to just type panabios.org.
That is
PANABIOS
.org.
.org.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to download the Panabios platform. The Panabios app, so that when all of these things in the coming weeks, and when all of these things go, so life becomes easier for everyone. And also facility managers, they can start using it now, because a number of people are using it. They are able to generate codes on their doors to monitor their staff. Monitor disease transmission, not like monitor people. Monitor disease transmission. So you could go to the site, register, and then you generate a code, a passcode or a 2DR code, and paste on your door. We want the hotel managers to be able to do that. The churches should be able to do that. And it gives everybody information. You get a call, you get a text message. Please visit the hospital, and this will help all of us. Thank you very much.
I will try and do that over the weekend, this weekend, to make sure to get myself enlightened on the platform, and in the coming weeks, share insights on the platform with our listeners. It's a pleasure having you, and thanks for the extensive discussion on the panabios.org platform, which seeks to help African member countries to safely manage the reopening of their borders and to also have a standardized, system of operation so that every African member country will recognize that if you are coming from country A, which is operating under the Panabios platform, we are sure, and also helping them to manage the COVID-19 better. Thank you so much, Mr. Pristine Asante.
Thank you,
for coming, and we hope to have you in our subsequent discussion on the reopening of our borders, Panabios, the government of Ghana, and stakeholders, the safe way of going about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abeiku, and thank you to your cherished listeners.
Thank you.